Welcome everyone to the St. By Night Twitch channel where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition chronicle set in the world of darkness, including Vampire the Masquerade, including Hunter the Reckoning, and here on Rage Across Tampa, Werewolf the Apocalypse. If you haven't been keeping up with St. Pete by Night, and more specifically Rage Across Tampa, you can find all of the past episodes on Twitch down below or over on YouTube, where they are posted about 5 days after they have aired. So you can get all caught up on this incredible, traumatic, amazing melodrama that we call Rage Across Tampa. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, but don't go follow me. Instead, what you should do is go follow St. Pete by Night. We've got all, or at least most, of our social media listed down below, so you should go give it a follow because we're going to be posting a lot of clips from various shows that we do. We keep our schedule for upcoming shows listed there. We've got all kinds of good content for you to soak up so you can stay with your fingers on the pulse of St. Pete by Night. But of course, I couldn't do this by myself. I do that on After Dark a lot of weeks, and it is traumatizing for me. So instead, let's go ahead and introduce the incredible players that make Rage Across Tampa happen. Say hello, players.
There we go. I know how technology works. Hi, everybody. My name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Arun from the Gale Stalkers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champagne, Champ, fairest of them all, whatever you want to call me. Doesn't matter, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Philodox of the Silver Pigs.
Hi everybody, I'm Nori, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hi, I'm Simon. I will be playing Joseph Ashspeaker, the Theurge from the Ghost Council.
So, last we saw our intrepid pack, they had made a journey out to Oregon after orchestrating a hit amongst several tribes, several packs within the Garou Nation. They went to Oregon to the Pan Gloss Cosmetics factory, where sources had said Aiden's family had been undergoing illegal animal testing. Aiden had been struggling for some time keeping his focus as it was divided in two different places. His heart in Oregon, his mind in Tampa. So the pack agreed that they would see this done. They would see his family liberated and reunited so that he could give all of his focus to the rebuilding of the Cairn of Tampa, as well as fighting back the threats that had, well, executed the previous Garou population within southern Florida. The operation seemingly went fairly easy at the beginning. The area was scouted out, locations were determined, details were given. Artie was able to provide some assistance from the technological side of things by getting in and dismantling the alarm system. Aiden found his family, and Jester and Aiden were able to liberate them, as well as a bevy of other animals that had been trapped within the facility. But one was missing. After Aiden was reunited with his mother, his father, and several of his siblings, he saw that his oldest brother, the one he looked up to since he was a pup, was still missing. Jester was quickly able to determine from a clipboard that his brother's stone had been delivered for testing, had been taken in. Aiden quickly made his way into the factory, Artie helping guide him using security cameras and overhead footage of the area, until he found one particular testing suite where his brother's stone was apparently tested on and laid unmoving. Approaching his brother, attempting to rouse him or at least determine his state, the body shook and rose and then attacked. Artie called out an alarm that it was something not of this world, something corrupted by the worms, something so grotesque and twisted that whatever semblance of his brother was left was merely in appearance of the shell of a body. Aiden went into combat with the creature, and it was a very heavy fight, blows being exchanged both ways, as the worm can grant almost unnatural and devastating abilities to the creatures that it corrupts. When it seemed like it was going to get worse for Aiden, his mother interjected herself, attempting to rescue her poor pup from this conflict. She was injured in the fray, one of her legs almost completely torn away from her body, and the leg broken. But that distraction afforded Aiden just enough time to defeat the creature that was once his brother Stone, save his family, and escape from the factory. Shortly after, they delivered his pack, or his original pack, to a wolf preserve up in Washington near the border of Oregon. It was a long drive, an overnight drive, and Aiden remained fairly silent through most of it. After they were delivered, his mother was immediately tended to from a member of the Gale Stalker tribe who happened to operate this particular facility, and Aiden was reassured that she would recover in time. After saying his goodbyes to his pack, he reunited with his new pack, his new family, his found family, and plans were made to leave and return to Tampa to focus on the task at hand, for Aiden and the others had done everything that they could for his family. And while it was successful, as we know in the world of darkness, success comes at a cost, almost always, whether it's a cost to oneself, whether it's a cost to the ones we love, or whether it's a cost to the world as a whole. Unfortunately, this cost was to Aiden. We find ourselves in the motel room, preparations being made, bags being packed, goodbyes being said to those from the Gale Stalker tribe who had helped scout out the facility in advance of the pack's arrival. And as you were all preparing, Artie had left, saying that he wanted to make sure that everything was set with the travel arrangements, leaving the four of you back in the motel room. Aiden hasn't spoken of the events, and when asked, Artie refuses to say, saying it is not his story to tell. And that is where we find our scene. The scene is yours.
Okay, so I guess I'll say something. What happened in there?
In regards to what exactly? You saw that we
Why,
got people out.
why was your mother wounded and poisoned? Why did we have to stop and have Artie suck out poison in her leg?
Uh, when I went in there, to find Stone, Artie let me know that there was a door that he couldn't see. Like there's a room that he wasn't able to see what's going on in there. So he guided me through that with, I could hear his voice. Got to the room, got in there, and it was dark, but Stone was on the table. When I went to go see if he was alive, at first there was almost no sign of anything, but when I went to go touch him, there's like a twitch, some form of movement, a sign of life in a sense. So I picked him up, but it wasn't him, or at least not anymore. Whatever they did or whatever happened to him, Stone changed. His beautiful white fur was now thrashed. There's black, sticky stuff coming out. I tried to stop him from trying to lash out and bite me as I was trying to carry him out. I dropped him, and then I went out to the hallway, and then Artie shouted Famorgi from something that and then I don't know what that meant, but I ended up having to fight him because he would not back off, and whatever was this thing was not stone. Some bites and scrapes were exchanged. I was on my back foot. I lost my balance, but my mother came in and was able to help out. But in that, the thing ended up getting a hold of her, and that's where the injury to her front leg occurred. But she provided the needed distraction in a sense, where I was able to fling him up against the wall, and at that point, stone or whatever stone had become was no longer moving. I lost touch with whatever we are in a way. Artie came out from where he was at and was able to help me get her back to you guys. But the bites that were done to her, that black sticky stuff got into her. I got hit by some of it, but I think it's being taken care of. But yeah, that's the long and skinny of it.
You think it's being taken care of? Are you healing like normal,
I
or is it slower?
it's weird. Normally it's a relatively quick, any cuts, scrapes, bites, I can usually take care of it in a reasonable fashion. This is taking a little longer, but I think it's doing the job.
You should have said something about being wounded.
Well, I
know you were concerned about your mom.
wasn't sure how to really talk about what happened. It's not the best at explaining things, so trying to relive it's not necessarily easy, and then trying to tell you guys, but whatever that thing was or what happened, I'm not sure if it's happening to the other animals that the testing site is, the other buildings that it has.
I couldn't get all the animals out. We didn't have time.
We got
I'm gonna
most of them,
ask.
though.
Yeah, as I'm saying that, I'm gonna approach and offer Aiden a hug.
Yeah, he'll allow it.
Okay, I'll hug him.
He'll hug you back.
I'm sorry.
The pack in a whole is still surviving. Death is part of life, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Famorgi?
It's something he shouted it. Flamori, something like that.
Famori.
Yeah,
It's
that thing.
Famori. It's a living being corrupted by a bane or a worm spirit.
So not the animal testing.
Yes, the animal testing. I mean, a lot of the chemicals and corruption that comes with unethical treatment of animals can open up veins. So yeah, indirectly the testing can do something like that. This seems a little, if somebody summoned a bane into a being, maybe there's more to it than just, trying crushed bug shells on somebody or on an animal. But that's where it comes from. The banes come from, this modern hellscape we live in.
Was there a way to bring him back?
No, the way you described him, Stone was dead, and his remains were the shell for that spirit. You gave your brother rest in taking care of it. His remains were existing in an undead state, basically, maintained by that spirit. So in doing what you had to do, you gave your brother rest.
Okay.
You've talked about banes before, right? You said like
Yeah.
the ones at the cemetery and Eliza's that attacked us. So they can possess people? Like ghosts?
Yeah. All of the spirits can inhabit people and things. You'll find tree spirits in trees, and it's natural and it's okay. But technically, if they wanted to, a loon could enter one of us and use us as a vehicle. Gaian spirits and wild spirits, loon spirits, generally get like some consent, but then our version of consent and theirs are different. They don't think like we do. But most of the possessions I've heard of have been forceful banes, or people or corrupted versions of us calling those spirits into things to make soldiers, to make monsters. As we grow, we'll probably see more of that.
Do they all look like that? The black sticky stuff?
They could be anything, any form of corruption, any form of monstrosity. I've heard the most disturbing ones I've heard of are the ones made of swarms. Those are terrifying. I've only heard legends of them, but those are, just bugs in like an Egger suit, like Men in Black, but like lots of bugs, not one. Or it could be whatever form of corruption it is. Corruption comes in many forms. It could be ichor, it could be toxicity, it could be radiation, it could be whatever you get out there. That kind of spirit could take over. It could be rage. It could just be a person overcome with rage acting out, and at first they just look angry, and then you look deeper with another set of eyes and you realize what it is.
Like your set of eyes, right? Like not.
Yeah, well, I mean, we might get a sense of it, but yeah, if you look with a gift, you could see that, or just realize this is more than an angry person.
Gotcha.
When they punch you so hard and they're not a leech and it hurts, that might be a sign.
Okay. We get hit really hard there.
It could be something.
Else.
Yeah, I mean, if it hurts like silver hurts, then yeah. I mean, there's debate amongst the theurgists on whether the leeches are Fomori. Like, it could be. I mean, maybe.
So does the vessel have to be dead for it to be a Fomori?
That's a great question. Um, I don't know. Then there's the question of if the bane is overtaken, even if the vessel is alive, is the spirit of whatever was there still there? So while the vessel may live, if the bane overcomes the will of the original inhabitant, that person's dead, that entity's dead or gone or consumed. What does that mean? Like, but that being said, I don't believe the way you described there was bringing stone back. You're not gonna exercise with an old priest and a young priest and get your at that point your brother was gone and it was a shell.
Still sucks.
After a few minutes, the motel room door opens and Artie makes his way in. Hey, I went to check on the status of the airport and our travel. They've increased security measures. Apparently, word's already getting out about some kind of issue at the factory. Small town, word spreads fast. Apparently, they are doing extra security checks, IDs, tickets, everything like that. And since we were using falses, I think it'd be better not to try our luck. So I got us a car. And I figured it'd be best to just lay low, travel back using the back roads, highways. It's going to mean a few more days till we get back to Tampa, but better safe than sorry, considering everything. And it might be good for us to have a couple more days before we get back into the shit of it.
Cool.
Kind of
Okay.
serious in here. I mean, not that I wasn't expecting it to be, but everything good?
I told him.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't feel right saying anything.
No, it's fine. I do thank you for the help that you did provide, though.
Wish I could have done more.
Your voice was enough. If you were there, I'd been concerned of making sure you weren't getting hurt, so you staying back actually was helpful.
I haven't seen a Fomori in person before, but I've heard enough stories about him to know that that was not natural. That was not. Yeah, that was not right. And I'm sorry that it happened, but you did everything you could. In fact, you did the best thing you could. And at least we were able to save the rest of your family from a similar fate happening. I called the shelter again on my way back from the airport and told them to just keep an eye out for anything unusual, just in case maybe some of the other chemicals have an effect. But they said they're going to have one of the theurges check everybody over and make sure that they stay away from anything potentially harmful. The way it was explained to me was that the chemicals poison not just the body but the spirit, and the weakened spirit is susceptible to being seized or destroyed or taken over from, and that's probably what happened.
Take a lot to weaken his spirit. He must have gone through quite a bit.
Well, they were there for at least a month, if not longer.
Yeah.
Anyway, I turned in that old rental, got a new vehicle, didn't really like the cut of that previous vehicle's jib. Not sure this one's much better. Their name is XML0147. Not a great conversationalist, but they do the job. They said I could call them Motor for short. Actually, I decided I'm going to call them Motor for short because who can remember all those numbers? But they will get us where we need to go. And they are not friend or foe. They're just kind of more neutrally doing their job in this case.
How many days are you thinking?
Well, if we take turns and just keep moving the whole time, we can probably be back in like 2.5. Maybe 2. We can probably cut it down if we keep going, but I know that there was a stop I wanted to make. So I feel like we can take the week and get there in like 4 days. I don't want us pushing ourselves too hard because who knows what's waiting for us back in Tampa. We need to recover from this, and you especially, kind of looking at Aiden, you need to recover. Because if there is any shit to be seen, we need our strongest ready.
I'll be ready.
The Gale Stalkers said that your body, Gaia will protect you from the poison, but it's going to take time. It's just going to take longer than usual. But your Garu state should be able to heal the damage over time. It's just going to take a while.
Yeah, it feels funny.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's kind of what it feels like. It's just sitting there and there's nothing can really be done about it.
But with my basic first aid training, I'll keep an eye on it and check on it, but we'll see. I think it should be fine in a couple of days.
Okay.
Everybody packed up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably go as soon as possible.
Okay. As you head outside, you see basically a passenger van, effectively, a rental passenger van with what looks to be 6 seats in the back, 2 seats up front. You could see that Artie has already like leaned down some of the seats to make like a sleeping area in the back, just leaving the 2 behind the driver and passenger seat. 3 behind the driver and passenger seat, and the 2 up front. I'll take first shift. Anybody tired?
I could take a nap.
You probably should.
Okay. With that, everybody climbs into the car, packing what belongings they brought, and you begin your trip out. The western states are large, and that's putting it mildly. As someone who comes from the Northeast, I can tell you that it takes a lot longer to get out of one of the larger states than it does to pass through several of the eastern states. But you do, unimpeded. Eventually, you find yourself in the state of Idaho. And that is where we are going to go to our next scene. Aspen. Good old Idaho. A place you didn't expect to be returning to anytime soon, if ever. And as you drove, Artie kind of looked to you and said, "Are you ready for this? Are you sure you want to do this?"
Best time, I guess. We're in the area.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So with that, you drive to Boise, your hometown. Now kind of a nightmare of a memory more than a good one. There are still some good bits that poke through, but that overwhelming pain and darkness of your last few weeks in town kind of still nag at you as you drive through the old neighborhood where you used to live, where you first met Aiden, your last home in Boise. You continue driving, eventually making your way out to the Snake River, if I remember correctly. Pulling off, you arrive kind of near dusk. The park's not going to be open for very much longer. And while the winter chill still kind of clings to the air, it seems like the early signs of spring are starting to show themselves. A lot of the snow has melted away, and the greenery is awakening from a long, long dormant rest. Parking the van, Artie hops out. Hey, we're gonna go for a walk. He calls to everyone in the back. Aiden, if you need to hunt, I think now would be a good time to do so. We're gonna be doing a lot of driving and not a lot of stopping, so get it in when you can. And with that, he takes your hand.
Yeah.
And kind of,
she'll
yeah.
she'll kind of guide him, like walking through a pretty big clearing next to the river, and she kind of stops for a little bit, takes a deep breath, and then keeps walking into the wooded area.
He follows behind, kind of still holding your hand, letting you do most of the leading, but his eyes are kind of looking around the area in an almost unknowing, protective way. An over paranoid person going for a hike who hasn't probably spent a great deal of time in the woods ever. But you find yourself drawing closer and closer to where it happened. Go ahead and roll me a composure and resolve check. You are at hunger 1. Or, I'm sorry, rage 1. As the tumultuous activities of the previous day have kind of settled.
That's 1.
Okay. So, I'd like you to take 2 points of superficial damage to your willpower as you are feeling all of that anxiety, all of that fear, all of that stress start to rise within you. Not only are you here in this moment, but almost simultaneously you're here in that moment. Looking ahead to the spot to where you woke up. There is still some piles of snow on the ground, but they are almost replaced by red, viscous blood splatter in your mind, all around, on the trees, on the ground. Some of the undergrowth sticking out of the snow almost takes the shape of viscera. In your mind, in your heart, which is almost frozen cold with fear, you're there again. Just as it was. And there's nothing you could do to stop it.
She stands like frozen, like hands shaking.
You okay?
She gives a weak nod.
Artie kind of gives your hand a squeeze and then kind of moves to step in front of you, almost kind of trying to block your sight, and he releases your hands and kind of reaches up and puts his hands on either side of your face and kind of tries to raise your gaze to look at his. It happened. It's over. You're here now because you need to see this again and know that it wasn't for nothing, that it wasn't meaningless, that it does have meaning, and that it wasn't in vain. I know how you feel. I live with it every single day. Tell me what happened. Walk me through it, but know that you're not living it alone anymore. I'm here.
Okay, okay. I used to come here a lot. The river, specifically. It's part of my job. And uh, through my job, I met him. I met Hayhots. There was a tribe that we were working with, and we spent a lot of time together. He brought me here. And it was great. It's a really good day. And we didn't notice the bear until it was too late. And I don't remember a lot after that. I remember waking up, I guess. And the bear was gone, and the Hayhots was gone. And there was Aiden. And I was a coward. And I left.
You're not a coward. You didn't know what was happening. Very few do, and without someone there you trust, someone to explain it, it is absolutely terrifying. It doesn't make sense. These things aren't supposed to be real. They're supposed to be stories. But it's not your fault. Put some pieces together in my head about why Aiden might be a kin seeker. He was there, but you couldn't have stopped it. And you couldn't have known when it was coming. And you've already made up for it.
I don't think I'll ever make up for it.
I know. But the good you did for Aiden, getting his family back, the good you're doing for our city as our leader, the good you've done for me. The hurt is never going to go away. You're just going to get used to carrying it. And that's okay. You are a good person. You are a strong person. And I'm so sorry that this happened the way it did.
You.
But you're not alone anymore. And I'll make sure that you never hurt anyone that isn't supposed to be hurt.
Yeah. There's just a lot of emotions because I feel like we could have helped Aiden's brother, and
We
feels like
did.
my fault.
We did help Aiden's brother. We put him to rest. I've heard a lot of different varying stories about what happens with Fomori, and I didn't go into full detail because I didn't want to trigger Aiden, but we did the best thing we could. I've heard horror stories of kind of what happened to you happening to them, that these things that they do, whatever's left of the spirit sits and watches and is forced to experience it. Luckily, we were able to put him to rest before any other damage could be done.
Yeah.
It's not your fault what happened to Stone. It's not your fault what happened here.
Would you walk with me for a second?
Always.
And she'll start walking into the woods. And she'll hit a spot. And there's like, it's kind of like almost looks like it could have been a cave at one point, but now it's just like kind of piled on with rocks and debris and all sorts of things with some snow on it because it hasn't quite melted yet. But it looks like a mound, like maybe it was like for larger animals, but it's heavily covered at this point. And she like sits on one of the rocks.
He kind of hunkers down close to you, but also slightly obstructing your vision of where you came from, kind of trying to act as like a curtain to what you had been seeing. But he stays extremely close and kind of takes your hands and puts them in your lap. Where are we now?
This is where Aiden put him.
Do you want to talk to him?
I'm not one for talking to ghosts. That's Joseph's thing.
We all talk to ghosts. It's just the ability to hear what they say back. But if you want to talk to him, he'll hear you. Wherever he is. I know that much.
She'll look down at her hands and she'll just like let out a weak, I'm sorry. And she'll pull off the ring that she fidgets with all the time. And she'll pull it off and she'll put it on one of the rocks.
Silence kind of dominates as much as inside you'd love some kind of reply, some kind of response. All is still. Artie kind of just sits there, being respectful of the moment, letting the words hang in the air before he just kind of wraps an arm around your shoulders and pulls your head against his shoulder and into his chest. The tears fall, unquestionably. And the whole time, he just kind of strokes your hair with his other hand, holding you close. And the moment lingers. Goodbyes are some of the hardest statements to say, especially when you didn't get the chance originally, especially when it feels like it's too late. But they aren't any less meaningful, because the goodbyes aren't just for the people you're saying them to, but they're for yourself. They're turning a page or closing a chapter in your story, not to be forgotten, not to be diminished, but simply to move on to a new one. So as you sit watching this chapter officially close, we're going to go ahead and transition to another part of the park. Aiden and Jester. You climbed out of the vehicle, Jester, deciding to go with Aiden on his hunt, probably partially out of concern for his physical well-being, but also because the two of you have become warriors of this particular pack, a bond that you share. The two to go in first, and the two to leave last. Brothers and sisters in arms, you shift into your lupus forms and make your way off into the woods. Aiden, still struggling with a -2 penalty from the poison in your veins, go ahead and roll me a wits and survival as you attempt to find any kind of prey. Taking to the ground, opening your senses as best as you can. Though sharpened in your lupus form, there's still this kind of blurry haze impeding on your vision. The smell that you try to pick up in your nostrils is decayed, rotted, possibly coming from you, possibly some sort of effect that's happening on your body. You're unable to pick up a trail. Jester, go ahead and roll me a wits and insight check.
Or successes with a critical.
4 successes with a critical. Looking over Aiden, though he's not one to really give off when he's struggling he likes to mask any kind of difficulties he's been having. You're able to kind of pierce through this facade he gives off, this confidence, this false bravado of the hunter, to see that he is struggling and completely lost on finding any kind of trail or any kind of prey. Now, over the time that you've spent with Aiden, you've known that this isn't just a ritual, this is a requirement. Something of being what he is calls for this. And that if he doesn't find any kind of prey this particular evening, he will displease his patron spirit. He needs to hunt, but in his current state, he is struggling to do so.
I'm going to attempt to see if I can find prey. since he is struggling.
Go ahead and give me a wits and survival.
I'm gonna spend a willpower. Okay, yeah. 3 successes.
Okay. You can see that the direction that he was originally searching in seems to have some semblance of a trail, but it seems to be very deeply kind of buried, overcome by the snow and the weather and the climate. But you are able to pick it up. And you know that if he were to continue in the direction he is going, he's unlikely to find anything as the trail turns and moves in a different direction. What would you like to do?
I'll give a quick bark to get his attention and to him this way.
Yeah, he'll almost like snap, like reactionary, and have a small little snarl, almost lost in his thoughts, but see it's you, and then follow.
Okay. As you are picking up the trail, I'll ask you both what's going through your minds right now. Aiden, will start with you, and then Jester.
Right now, he's trying to focus on the hunt because he doesn't want to displease his patron. But he is replaying what was going on the entire time while at the facility. What could he have done differently to possibly change this? Is there another path that could have been taken to avoid what happened? As far as Stone, he's trying to come to realization with, but he's having a hard time. But his mother interjecting, though saving his life in the process, she got hurt, and he takes full responsibility for that.
As your mind is reliving what has happened, go ahead and roll me a stamina and composure check as the memory of those fangs embedding themselves, those claws embedding themselves into your flesh, causes a burning sensation to emanate from the wound.
Still -2 on this one.
Yes.
4.
It's painful, but it's not debilitatingly so. You feel the burning kind of that wound, almost like it's being freshly opened again, but you are able to kind of grit your teeth and steady yourself enough that it doesn't cause you to kind of succumb to any extra pain. You can actually remove one of those negatives, as you are now at a -1 on your checks. Jester, what's going through your mind?
Worry for Aiden. Not only is he physically wounded, which it's slow to heal, but he has to be going through a lot mentally, and he's not the best of revealing it. Also feeling a slight bit of guilt that it didn't catch that his mother had split off from the group I was leading, and she got hurt because on my watch, basically. So she's feeling a bit guilty about that, and deep concern for my friends in prison. If this is what could happen to the animals in testing, like what other kind of spirits, what's happening to my friends, and will they be all right, or am I going to be too late as well?
Trying to focus yourself, despite all these thoughts running through both of your minds, you follow the trail. Jester kind of nudging Aiden in the right direction, letting him stay in the front, letting him take point, but kind of directing him, whether it's with a muzzle against one of his hindquarters, kind of turning him a certain direction, almost like the rudder of a boat, steering him from behind. You do follow the trail. And as you do so, you come upon what looks to be a kind of a small den that has been created, where a couple of deer seem to be hunkered down for the last moments of the day, about to wake up and prepare for the evening's journey. Go ahead and roll dexterity and stealth, both of you, as you begin to approach your prey. So with 3 successes apiece, you're able to kind of take your points, your positions, your practiced motions, having recalled the last hunt you both went on, coming in from different angles, kind of circling the den, looking for any weaknesses, any other possible escape routes, and finding none. You approach the den very quietly. Your footfalls practiced and aware as you approach the den. The inhabitants, the 2 deer settled down inside, don't seem to stir as you make your approach.
Again, Aiden's going to crouch down, kind of flare his claws out and kind of shimmy his shoulders, getting ready to pounce at one of the deer.
Okay.
Jester is going to be mimicking the movements. Though she is not, I'm not planning on attacking the second deer.
So you're
I'm
both
gonna-
planning on targeting the same deer. So following, go ahead and give me one more wits and insight to see if you can tell which one Aiden is kind of signaling towards.
Okay. Because I'm just going to be assisting him in making sure he gets this kill. Um, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, so you can kind of tell from his body language and where he seems to be focused, using the tip of his muzzle as kind of like a directing arrow. You can tell that he seems to have picked out the larger of the 2. Aiden, as you approach, preparing yourself and getting into your position, go ahead and make a strength and brawl attack, but I will give you an additional die from Jester's assistance, as that seems to be the goal here.
So not -1, so it's as is. then.
As is normal, yes.
Okay, 5 then.
5 successes. It's quick. Like a burst of claws and teeth, a flurry of activity. It is one of the most successful and quickest kills, Aiden, that you've probably ever experienced on your own. A successful sneak attack, as it were, as Jester kind of goes in low, kind of pinning the legs, keeping them from being able to spring up as you go in for the throat and successfully and quickly bite down, jerk, snapping the neck, causing it to drop lifeless to the ground. The other deer quickly jumps up and speeds off, but they weren't the target. They weren't the quarry or the goal. Aiden, as you kind of release the lifeless body, letting it drop to the ground, you can feel a slight chill in the air coming from the north, a feeling that you've been experiencing with every successful hunt, with every successful day. The wind is satisfied and pleased with your hunt.
Once the deer is down, I'm going to head away from it so he can feed on his kill. And I'm going to shift back to human form and wait for him.
Aiden, as you eat, it doesn't quite sit right in your stomach. You feel nauseous, probably a combination of the the ichor still kind of coursing through your system, being processed. You feel kind of a little bit feverish with every kind of gulp you attempt to take. Your skin and your fur feeling uncomfortably warm. But you do, again, thanks to that stamina and composure roll from before, manage to keep your meal down. But you don't eat as much as you normally would. You don't truly gorge yourself on your kill. You take just enough to feel as full as you can feel, despite the kind of tumbling and roiling that's happening in your stomach. As you emerge from the den, you see Jester standing in Hamid form nearby, awaiting your return. What would you like to do?
He'll walk out and he will kind of look, make sure that there are no possible people around the area.
Give me a wits and awareness. Two successes. Okay. There does not appear to be anybody nearby. There doesn't appear to be any presence. You guys stayed pretty far off of any known trails through this particular park, and despite the dusk kind of consuming and darkness moving its way in and over the area, you feel very confident that, having studied the paths of humans in metro parks and, kind of natural preserves, they're all probably gone by now. You feel fairly confident you're unseen.
They should be at home. He will, as he's walking up, he'll go back to his Hamid form, and just kind of any blood or dirt that happened to be on his hands, kind of wipe it off.
The change is not as fluid as you would like it to be. You kind of feel yourself jerking and twisting, and that kind of pain and nausea kind of inhibiting the experience for you, making it uncomfortable. So it takes a little bit longer than usual, rather than a smooth, fluid change where the fur melts away and is replaced by the skin of the form that you're used to. It just kind of lingers as the change happens, but eventually you make the full transition. And you find yourself breathing a little bit heavier, as if it's taken a little bit more of a toll on you. The -1 penalty returns, so you're at a -2 again, but your task is complete.
The transitions aren't going as smooth as they normally do.
Well, you should take it easy then. Don't push yourself too hard.
Well, luckily we have this trip that we're doing, so
Yeah.
give me a little bit of time to get back to being me.
I want you to know that you can lean on me if you need to.
I'm a bit heavier than you.
I'm a little stronger than you think.
I saw that with the fence.
Oh, that's also a bit of a gift from Gorgon, my patron. She wants us to break down walls. Physically, metaphysically, metaphorically.
I think you succeeded.
Good. Look, I'm sorry I lost track of your mom when I was leading them back.
She's gonna do whatever she wants, regardless if you were there. She would have told you off, and she would have done what she wanted to do.
And I don't just mean physically to lean on. If you need help with things and while you're recovering, you don't have to do it on your own. Like I said, we're a pack. We're here for you.
Isn't recovery due to the person that needs to be recovered?
Yes, and while you're recovering, you don't have to be a monolith. Do you even know what a monolith is? That phrase might have escaped you. You don't have to be a rock. You don't have to be strong and alone. You can lean on us mentally and physically.
One of those people things.
Yeah. You can rely on us.
I know I can. Yeah. Appreciate it. Oh, also, thanks for turning my ass. I was obviously going the wrong way as he gestures to the den.
Yeah, I guess you just missed that the trail had turned.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Are you doing all right though?
Yeah, I'm worried about my friends.
We'll get them.
Yeah, I just hope by the time we get them, something hasn't happened. I don't think the people that have them, if they're connected to vampires, are really just gonna leave them alone. Ryder said something, and it's been rattling around in the back of my head since we talked to him the other night. He said something about them getting to my friends. I don't know how that works or what they could do, but
Yeah, but doesn't he have? Aren't you able to talk to them because he's got someone there?
yeah, letters, but I don't know if anything happened beforehand. I don't know. It's just a bunch of unknowns.
Yeah, not knowing stuff is not good. It makes it a lot harder to get out of the worrying
Mhm.
thing.
It really sucks.
But you got us. Like you guys had me out here. We'll get them, even if we have to go all Alcatraz on it. Well, if we got good movie by the way.
I've seen
Got
it. It's a good movie.
yeah, but how many of your friends are actually in there?
5.
Okay. Well, we'll get all 5 of them out then.
Thanks, Aiden.
Yeah. But I wasn't able. Are you hungry? I wasn't able to finish all of it. The
No, I'm
stuff.
good. I'm good.
You sure? Like, there's still quite a bit. I left the hindquarters.
I'm really good. I promise.
Should I get us some stuff for Aspen? She did lead us over. Hold on. I was gonna head back and see what organs have remained and pick whatever Kent says I pick.
Go ahead and give me an intelligence and medicine check.
Oh, jeez. I'm at a -1, right?
You're at a -2.
I'm a -1. Like,
Oh, well, you have a minimum of 1 dice to roll. You can't go below 1 dice.
okay, and if I fail on that,
If you fail on that, you grab a hunk of something unidentifiable
okay.
in your mouth and carry it with you, which eventually will be revealed to be a small intestine, or at least a chunk of
Perfect.
small intestine.
Perfect. And take that to Aspen, and she'll love it.
I feel like we both have different definitions of love.
It's like one of the best parts.
You know, she doesn't like raw.
You can technically cook it. It's just gonna smell really bad. If anything, I'll just throw it at her.
Okay.
So Jester, and Aiden make their way back through the woods, returning to the vehicle, having been gone maybe an hour at best since they departed. And that seems like a good time for us to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes or so we'll see you back here for part 2 of tonight's story. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome back. We hope everybody had a good break. As we return, a day has passed since the hunt, since Aspen's conversation with Artie at the site of her first change and everything that came with it. It's nighttime on the second day of travel as you find yourselves driving across the country from Oregon back to Florida. Aspen, you're behind the wheel, as it is your shift and nobody trusts Aiden with a car yet. And at this point in the evening, Joseph, Jester, and Artie are all taking a well-deserved respite in the back of the vehicle. They're heavy breathing, kind of creating the soundtrack for the ride, as Aspen and Aiden are once again original boon companions alone. The scene is yours.
Artie snores really loud.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Freaking street dogs.
How are you?
I feel like that's a trick question leading to a long conversation.
Probably, yeah.
Is there a way to, bypass the meat and just get to the end of the sandwich? Do we gotta?
I mean, if you'd like, sure. Or we could just sit in silence, but that's not really entertaining, is it?
I'm not okay. I thought taking care of the the family would help. And in parts it did. But the fact that I have to deal with of the constant reminder that I killed Stone. I know that wasn't necessarily Stone, but had the body, and that keeps going through my head. When we get back to Tampa, I thought after taking care of this, the overall responsibilities would be done. But no, I have kin seeking to do now. My older brother was always there to watch over me to make sure things didn't happen. I can't shake this feeling that if that night when Stone and I got surrounded, if I didn't leave, and if he would have gone, and if I would have been captured, and he was chosen by Gaia instead of me, things would have turned out better for the pack.
I don't think that's true at all. I think things happen for a reason. Sometimes the reason is good, but the, outcome is not great. But things happen for a reason. If you weren't there for me, who knows where I'd be?
Yeah, but if he is older, he's bigger, faster. Our first time being set off on our initial hunts to grab stuff, most of us got chipmunks, mouse, maybe a squirrel. Stone's first initial hunt, he brought back a rabbit. That doesn't happen. He would have been really good at this.
You're really good at this. You are, Aiden. You're really good at this. And you don't give yourself enough credit. And I know what happened with Stone is a lot. But it wasn't your fault. It wasn't something you could stop. But if you weren't here, and maybe I'm being selfish, if you weren't here for me, I don't know what I would do without you.
I feel like you would have been just fine.
We both know that's not true.
You would have figured it
I'm
out.
barely making it as it is.
You have come a long way, though. You're more stubborn than the rocks in a river, and you won't budge for anything, and that's a good push. But you've come a long way.
So have you. Look at you, Kinseeker. I'm glad I was your crash course.
Yeah, great way to start off. How you doing? Okay since being? I know it's the park.
Yeah, no, I feel a lot better. Speaking of which, if you feel like talking about that, gives context, to help you understand what's going on with your kin seeking, you're welcome to talk about it.
I've been it's something that we talked about to not talk about, so I've been really trying not to talk about it.
It's fair, but Cat's kind of out of the bag at this point, so.
What do you mean?
I told Artie what happened.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
How do you take it?
Great, it's Artie, you know.
Yeah. Despite the snoring, he's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
Jester is concerned about her friends.
I know she is, and we're gonna figure it out.
Do you have a plan for that, or are we just kind of crossing the bridges as we get to them?
I have a loose plan. I have some ideas of things I could do, but it all comes down to getting more information first. What
Do you
we're really
need
up against.
Do you need anything from me?
I need you around.
Yeah, I can do that.
I need you to stop bringing me gross things.
All right, the intestines is good. You just and no, I'm gonna keep doing it. One, you're leader and you get all the fun pieces, and two, the reaction you've given me that now, and you can't take that back. And I know the reaction is just gonna be there every time, even if you fake it. I've been with you long enough now. I just know. So yeah, maybe I'll bring you back like a throat or something next time.
No,
Oh,
I'm okay.
I can teach you how to make a horn out of it.
Nope, I'm good. It's not really, it doesn't fit my aesthetic, so I think
What?
I'll be okay.
What if I like paint it all black and make it all shiny and stuff you can put in your office?
I feel like you're deflecting.
I feel like, yeah.
Talk about it. You got emotions. You work on those emotions. Talk about it.
What in particular are you wanting me to talk about?
How you're feeling. What do you want? What do you need? How do you feel? How can I support you?
I feel overwhelmed. I'm angry. I'm also happy. I'm glad that my family's with a group that I can trust. Also, if they step out of line, I can just give Duncan a call and he can go take care of it. So there's always that aspect. Honestly, I'm scared. I'm scared for what is to come for building in Tampa. and what repercussions are going to come from that. And not just from us being there, but our people were ran out the first time. And they were a lot of them. He'll look back. We don't have a lot with us. I was able to help with the leech issue with those few that were down there. But if there's as many as Eliza and Ryder, and even Duncan's told me about, we don't have the numbers. So I'm scared. I don't know what we can do to fix that. Like, I know that whole kin seeking, but I don't know how that works. I don't know if I can just rally you an army to go and take on leeches.
Yeah. I think that makes two of us, the whole scared thing. But we have more than we did, right?
I mean, when it was just you and I,
Exactly.
yeah, I would say our numbers have gone up.
That's saying something.
And if what happened to Stone can happen to other dead things, aren't we setting up the cairn in a cemetery?
Yep, we are. It's concerning, definitely. Gotta talk to this grandmother Willow and try and get in her good graces. That probably would help a lot. But one step at a time. You know, we didn't know what we were getting into with your family. But they got out. They're safe. And also, I'll teach you how to use FaceTime so you can FaceTime the sanctuary, see your family.
Okay. And this FaceTime?
through the phone.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool. I didn't know that was the thing. But yeah. But are you okay? I know you said
Yeah.
you're scared.
I think it's a different kind of scared. I think not being scared would be stupid. But I'm hopeful. I think for the first time in a long time. I think people we have around us, it's gonna be good. It'll be good.
And Joseph's gonna get that cairn up and running, and we'll get Jester's friends out. And
Yeah, and you know what they say. If you build it, they will come. So
yeah,
more people will show up.
baseball movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got your back. If anyone tries anything, you just let me know.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about your big brother a lot. You're my brother at this point, so I have you and you have me.
So just bully you and bully them to upcoming. Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that.
Best big brother ever.
You continue the drive for the remainder of the evening. It takes about another 36 or so hours for you to arrive back in Tampa. The weather warming up, the snow becoming a distant memory as you find your new home away from home back in Tampa. Joseph, upon your request and upon this new position you hold as the protege to Eliza Ross and the builder of the cairn, you are driven almost immediately to Eliza's trailer. When you arrive, it's probably early afternoon. It's on the 4th day since you left Oregon. Wasn't the most comfortable experience living out of a car effectively for 4 straight days, so the aches and pains and groans of the body can still be felt even amongst the Guru. But you find yourself arriving and standing on the porch outside of Eliza's house. She told you that you don't even have to bother to knock when you come by, but there's still a part of you, the manners that Grandma taught you, that forces you to knock. And as you do, inside you hear, "Damn it, Joseph, just come on in."
He'll go in.
As you open the door and make your way in, you can see Eliza's been very busy. That there seem to be kind of several old books or journals pulled out. The rest of the ingredients for the medicine cabinet have been put away, but it seems like some have been separated and put into like a Tupperware container with a lid. These seem to be the primary ingredients for the cairn building process. As you come in, you can see her kind of busy shuffling around, kind of getting some ingredients in order. But as you enter, she kind of looks over her shoulder back at you. "Everything go all right?"
Mostly. I had a rough casualty, but the family is free.
Who do we lose?
Aiden's older brother, Stone.
She kind of lets her head kind of bow a little bit as she whispers a few words under her breath. Loss is a hard thing, but it's something that we get used to. Something we have to get used to in this fight.
This one was extra rough. Aiden found him after he had become a Fomori.
I was really hoping we were done with those. Foolish notion, but how's he handling it?
Like Aiden. Putting up the facade and staying quiet. But
Well,
Jester took him out hunting. I think it helped a lot.
there's a book in the stack there. It's my notes about Fomori. You take it with you, read over it. Maybe you can provide some guidance. That's your job now, after all.
Yeah. No, I told them a little what I knew, mostly to comfort Aiden, to let him know that there wasn't much he could do to reverse it, and he just gave rest, you know.
Well, he's gonna need to know how to fight him. This city's been left untended for far too long. There's likely to be others.
Yeah, I did give the pack a small warning that we're probably going to see more as we grow.
Undoubtedly. That being said, I've been keeping eyes on his kinfolk, I suppose. Nothing new to report. Going about business as usual. No incidents. No
Very
change.
Good. Happy guy. I thought to wait a minute.
Any other pleasantries or small talk you want to get out of the way? Because I have some news.
Lay it on me.
She wants to see you.
Okay. Hopefully that's a good one. We'll see.
Well, like I've said, she's a fickle old bitch. You never know.
Yeah, I've been getting a little more, I don't want to say welcomed. I've been getting a little less cold when I've gone to work before leaving. So hopefully it'll keep progressing forward.
Hopefully your absence doesn't undo the work you've been doing. But I've been checking in with her. I've been visiting the site at least
Good.
once or twice since you've been gone. Are you ready to face her now?
Waiting isn't going to help. Sure.
She is definitely not one you want to keep waiting in her current state. Very well. I've been borrowing the neighbor's car. I suppose they won't miss it for another day. So you head
Okay.
outside after she takes kind of the box of ingredients with her. You find an old Cadillac from probably 1994 parked outside one of the other trailers. Eliza goes up, knocks on the door. Another individual answers, a man who's kind of wearing a tank top that looks like it has like a stain on it, and sweatpants. They exchange some brief pleasantries, and Eliza kind of opens up the Tupperware container and pulls out a little baggie that seems to have some sort of herbal concoction mixed in it, and passes it to him. And he happily accepts, grabs some keys off of what must have been a hook hanging by the door, and passes them over to her. Let's go.
Dealing
goes
with a good
down.
tea.
He's going to have some very good dreams. We'll put it that way.
All right.
You climb into the Cadillac, and it kind of grumbles its way to life. The car maintenance obviously not having been very well upkept, but enough to keep it running in its 30 years of life. And you drive out to the Memorial Gardens. As you approach the cemetery, go ahead and give me a wits and insight. This is just kind of a general assessment of the mood that you're encountering as you arrive later in the afternoon. 4 successes. It feels relatively unchanged. If anything, it feels a little bit warmer. Now, it's hard to say if it's from the weather, as the weather has kind of taken an uptick in your absence, and we're experiencing more like 70-degree days. Still dipping a little cold in the evenings. But as you pull into the cemetery, Eliza doesn't stop in the early parking. She keeps going and driving. And as you kind of follow the twisting lanes that move between headstones and well-kept, kind of groomed shrubbery, you see her in the distance, growing closer and closer, standing sentinel amongst many other trees, Spanish moss clinging to various branches, kind of hanging down like a curtain that parts as you approach the clearing where she stands. Eliza pulls the car shakily into one of the parking spots, hitting kind of the guardrail, the little barrier at the bottom, and causing the car to lurch. She says, "Goddamn cars. It's been too long," and she kind of jerks it into park. "This is for the two of you. I won't be far. So if you need me, just holler, but I'm going to be continuing the preparations." And she kind of grabs the Tupperware container and exits the vehicle with a very long groan as she kind of climbs out of the car in a very stiff jointed kind of affair, trying to get out of the vehicle.
He'll get out and slowly walk forward, reach into one of his pockets and pull out a small bundle of herbs, sprinkle some out on the ground as he enters, and then head right to the tree.
As you head to the tree, you kind of approach the base where the tree stands. You can see gnarled knots kind of all up the surface of the bark. Some of the knots, even in one particular section, almost deceptively look like a face if you look at it in the right light. And you see some old scars in the form of various initials and carvings that have been etched into the tree, but have seemed to have been long since passed, possibly several years ago. There's even a little sign that says, "Please respect these grounds. Do not defile the nature within." kind of positioned near the tree. The long branches kind of hang over you, almost like potentially protectively, but also seem like they're reaching over to kind of almost consume you as you approach the base of the tree. You pull out the herbs, kind of making the preparations. What do you do next?
At this point, I would stop, take a deep breath, close my eyes very tightly, and then, while exhaling, open them again and activate penumbral senses.
Okay, now for our first time viewers, or for those who are not familiar with Werewolf, please describe the power and what is required.
Alright, penumbral senses allows me to open my eyes to seeing the Umbra, the other side of the world. And it requires me to spend a willpower and to make a intelligence plus my wisdom roll to see how well I can see the other side and what I observe.
Okay. So as you steady yourself and focus, make the roll.
While I spent one willpower to activate it, I'm going to spend a second one to reroll a bunch of these 4s. So it's 3 successes on that roll.
Okay.
And I
So
think the
as-
difficulty is the gauntlet rating.
Right.
If I remember right, yeah.
As you close your eyes and take in a deep breath, when you open them, it's like the photo negative of an image, mostly grayscale, kind of composing the area. You can still see the various trees surrounding the area, although some of them seem to be different sized or different shaped than they would look normally. You can see some wisps kind of jumping from branch to branch, moving about. And then you look at her. And as you look at her, you see that a lot of the branches are a lot more gnarled than they appear, but better from the last time you look. You can see her expanding outwards, still in the same motion from the last or your first encounter, kind of stretching out off into the distance overhead. And the gnarled knots in the tree itself do look more like a face this time. Looking to where the kind of initials and carvings were done in the base of the tree, you can see what look to be almost like scars and some even open wounds in her base. Her face looks kind of craggy and cracked. The years and decades of experience on full display on her face, a similar face to that of Eliza, but a little more wooden in its appearance. Ash Speaker, you've returned.
Yes, grandmother.
You just don't know when to quit, do you?
No.
You brought her back.
We did.
And what possessed you to do such a thing?
It's twofold. One of our own was lost. No, 2 of our own are lost. She was, Ryder still is. So when we spoke to her and sought information regarding the tears Gaia's tears. She had some information for us, and when we went into the Umbra to find it, it was attached to her. The way in which we found it, we knew it was meant for her. So when we came back, we were able to share that with her and kind of pull her back from the edge a little. And since then, she's become a mentor to myself and to the pack, and very helpful in learning more and growing.
I have not felt her presence since the last days of the Sept of the Weeping Willow. Lost, I thought she was. Long lost. The one you know as Ryder soon followed after, abandoning me, abandoning this place, leaving us defenseless. How can I trust, Ash Speaker, that you won't do the same?
Guess I don't know when to quit.
For now. But everyone has a price, a cost. Something that once lost cannot be regained or recovered. What is your price, Ash Speaker? Do you even know it?
Knowledge? Secrets? That's what my patron and my kin call to, but no knowledge would pull me away from the growth that can happen here. I can't gain knowledge at a better place than with my kin and my cousins, than in a place of sanctity and not, there aren't good words for this. But leaving this place, leaving what I've been called to, would not gain me anything. To be completely blunt, I have the most to learn here. I have the most to gain here, investing in this place, investing in my pack, and what I hope to be a cairn. That's where I can learn the most and experience the most. Nothing would pull me away from that.
Your last attempt at gaining knowledge, Ash Speaker, did a great deal of harm. A great deal of damage. It attracted them to this place. How am I to acknowledge your fumbling, childlike attempts at gaining knowledge, knowing that it could do further irreversible damage to me, to this place, to what remains?
When I first came here, I was alone, and I did not know why I was called or sent here. So I sought out what I knew. I sought the Umbra, I sought the other side, and I sought things to fix. So that's when I ended up coming here to fix a problem and to learn about this place. I'm not alone now. I have my pack. We are balanced. We have all of the moons with us. We have the personalities that check each other and support each other. We have a mentor who knows this place better. We have even the one who abandoned us who knows this place better. He's not an ally. He's not an entity we trust. But even an enemy you can learn from. And I don't want to call him an enemy yet. He's lost, but we can still learn from him. And we learn so much from her. I've grown since then. I've learned since then. I've seen what this place, your home, and this city has become, and I've learned why it's become that. And so I'm not leaving either.
Grown? Learned? For trees, it takes decades to learn and grow and change. Do you consider yourself better, more wise than a tree, Ash Speaker? What has it been? A year?
It's been 4 seasons. It's been growth and loss. It's been the return of the leaves in the fall. It's been new buds. It's been reaching towards the light. All those things in 1 year, every tree, every plant does. You say it takes decades to learn for a tree, but it doesn't. You learn fast. You learn faster than anything else. You regrow so quickly. You adjust to the light. And so do we. And we don't have, as Geru, we don't have the time. We burn fast and bright. And so we have to learn fast or we die.
But all it takes is one cut to undo everything. It is easier to wound me than it is for me to recover and learn. What, Ash Speaker, are you willing to lose? Because there will be loss.
We know there will be loss. There has been loss. And there always is loss. Nothing comes for free. Nothing comes without loss. The spring doesn't come without the fall. In the winter, there's no growth without destruction. And we're proof of that. We defend and we protect, but we're built to destroy. That's part of our nature. There's no escaping that, and we're all very aware of that. I've stepped away from all of my comfort already. I'm here with just, well, my pack, but I came here with just myself. My guidance gone, my human grandmother gone. All I have is my life. And that is in service to Gaia.
Will you be strong enough to see Gaia lost?
Look around. I'm standing. And maybe she is. But maybe it's just the fall. Maybe we're stuck in winter. And while her tree may have fallen, maybe there's a seed. maybe it's us.
I have seen others before. Others of your conclave of spirits, your tribe. They seem very interested in what happens after. They seem very interested in what happens beyond. Not thinking in the present, only thinking of beyond. Can you live in the present? Can you be present, Ash Speaker? Because the present is where the damage is being done. The present is where the war is being had.
It's all connected. I know some of my kin lose themselves to the other side. They get lost in the secrets and they disappear, wander off. I see this side. I see what we know is the natural world, the world of humans, and the Umbra as not separate. And even the deeper parts where the spirits, the dead go, they're not separate. They're not different. They're connected. So knowing what's happening in the physical world, knowing what's happening in the Umbra and in the deeper parts, all teach something and allow me to communicate to my pack what is happening and how those connections happen. We miss those connections if we just look in the physical. We don't see that. And so my looking to the other side and what happens after and what happens behind the scenes is to understand the connections, not to lose myself in the future or in the beyond, but to see where the strings lie.
And what do you have that the Sept before didn't? They had greater numbers. They had more experience. What makes you so special?
Nothing, but everything. We're all just called to this, whether we're special or not. I'm not a savior. I'm not the chosen one. None of us are. This isn't, some book written for 12-year-olds. We're just going to keep doing it because it's what we do. It's what we are. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we've done what we're supposed to do.
If it doesn't, everything is lost.
Everything's lost already. What's the harm in trying to get it back?
Go ahead and make a charisma and persuasion check. I'll give you an extra die because of the time that you've put in advance with all the work tending that you've done before now.
Spending another willpower. Three successes.
You're not ready. You're not ready for this, Ash Speaker. Perhaps. But perhaps you will be soon. And there's no better place for you to get ready than a cairn. You may build your cairn here. You have my blessing, and I will forgive your past misgiving. But you have much to still pay penance for. I was not the only one affected by your mishaps. But as for us, consider it a thing of the past, another wound healed over, a scar that will not be forgotten, but will be forgiven. You brought one of my closest allies to me once again, one I had long thought lost. You've come here, despite being unwelcome, despite my insistence that you leave, and you have worked. You have spent time. You have become familiar with these grounds. You are welcome, Joseph Ashspeaker. And you may very well be my last hope.
Thank you. My pack and I will do everything to make this place better and to see you grow strong.
You will have to do everything. You will have to give everything. And you may very well have to lose everything. Because while you say that you have made sacrifices, that you brought nothing with you, you have gained much. Perhaps you must spend a bit more time considering the value of it, and a little less time looking towards the end of the story. Because it's not just you that can do this. Eliza thought she could do this by herself. And she lost everything, including herself. But we shall see. I have time. Not an infinite amount of it, but I have time, and I will let you take what's left of that time. She kind of shakes a little bit, the branches kind of shaking ever so slightly, and as you kind of follow the noise, your eyes kind of tracing up along her base and out to the branches beyond, you see what appears to be buds forming at the end of the branches and leaves starting to grow and sprout from it. She shakes again, and one of these leaves kind of slowly drifts down until it lands kind of in your open hand, awaiting. Now go. More to learn, much to be done. Your task has only just started. But come to me when you have words. Come to me when you need wisdom that even Eliza cannot give. And I will await you.
Thank you. I'll bow deeply, turn off penumbral senses, and quietly walk out.
As your senses fade, color being restored, the shifting face of the tree kind of returns to the knotted, rooty nature, and the world is as it was. With that, we'll transition to our final scene of the evening. Gotta love those technical difficulties. Well, we are back, and we are going to pivot like we do and shift back to Eliza's trailer, where the three of you have reunited, along with Artie and Eliza, at the trailer. Jester has notified all of you that she is going to be taking some time, but that she'll be in touch tomorrow. Joseph, you've just returned from your conversation with Grandmother Willow, and Eliza finished making some preparations, placing some talismans throughout the cemetery, doing a few rites near the borders of the cemetery, starting to protect, in an almost warding fashion, the grounds of the cemetery. As you all gather together, Aspen, Artie, Aiden sitting on the couch, Eliza sitting in her recliner, and Joseph, having been given a spot, which is just a wooden chair, almost like from a dining room table set, that is sitting next to the recliner. You settle in. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, welcome back, everyone, Eliza says, as she gathers you together. I heard it was quite a journey you went on, but overall, it sounds like it was successful. Joseph has some news for y'all. So, Joseph.
We're in. We went to talk. Well, I went to talk to Grandmother Willow, and she's gonna let us move forward. It's hesitant, but the work we've been doing has convinced her that I guess the best way for us to grow is to have a cairn. So she's gonna let us start the process of actually building the cairn.
That's amazing. That's so good.
When's the first moot?
We have a
Eliza-
lot of work to do.
Eliza chuckles raspily, but lets Joseph continue.
We have a lot of prep to do. We'll have to gather everyone to actually do the rite when it's time. There's a lot of feng shui, for lack of a better term, to set up and get everything going. And then I want everyone there. I guess that'd be our first moot, right? We do the ritual together. We'll do the rite together, and as long as it works, we would be celebrating together as, us, as the cairn. So I guess that would be our first moot when we're ready.
Joseph told me about your getting Mr. Ryder involved, so I decided to keep tabs on the area he was sent to, just to give you any kind of forewarning I could once you returned in case things went sour again. I'm happy to report that there was news of a break-in, as well as some products going missing, others destroyed. A few minor injuries, but no fatalities. He did as he said he would. Apparently, Aspen, you've had quite an impression on him for him to be willing to restrain himself. So good on you.
Thank you. To that point, I think we invite him to the ritual.
What?
To the right. To the right. We bring him. I think it's good for him.
Wouldn't he just a thing to to send out? Isn't that what we
Okay.
talked about?
So I have some things to talk to you guys about. I did talk to him recently, and I offered him a place in the pack. I know I didn't speak to you all first, but I think this is a good idea. Number one, being in the pack means he has a leader, means somebody he needs to listen to. I don't know how much he openly or willingly listens to the litany, but having somebody, a group of people, keeping him in check, having him have a place to belong, and that brings me to my second point. I think he's just been alone for a long time. And I think he needs people to keep him in check, to give him a sense of community that he didn't have, that maybe pushed him in a direction before.
He would be a strong ally to have. He was the leader of the Sept last, when the Sept dispersed and the others fled. He was the last one. He has significance to the cairn and to Grandmother Willow. But he's also changed. He is a rightfully angry man. And an angry man makes a very dangerous ally.
I agree. But I do have to say that if he had people, he could potentially do better. And if we talked about Eliza here, perfect example, we could have said no. We could have said no. And up until we got into the Umbra, until we moved around the Umbra, the tears were just a legend, right? A story that nobody knew about. So who's to say you can't bring somebody back without it? People say no, but people don't know. There's so many things we've learned just in this small amount of time that we thought were impossible. So I'm asking you all, not forcing you, I'm asking you all to give it some consideration.
I'll talk to Grandmother Willow. She brought, well, I mentioned him in our discussion, and there are feelings there. I'll have to sort out what they are and if she'll welcome him back.
Aiden,
Yeah.
you're a part of the pack. You can express your opinion.
I think it's not a good idea. He's rash, impulsive. He's a battering ram that's gone off course. And trying to bring back someone that's going downhill and stopping them is difficult, especially when they're as strong as he is. Sure, he listened to you this time, but you are leader, so anything that goes wrong ultimately falls back on you. Now, the rest of us will follow you. Ryder, you say he was the last leader, right?
He was?
And what's to say that he thinks that at some point that you're wrong about something, and he tries to take you out because of it. Take your spot.
I understand. And that's a possibility in times of peace. But that's not to say I have to physically fight him, number one, but I don't even want to think about that for the future. If we're all thinking towards what could happen and what couldn't happen, then there's a lot of things we wouldn't have done. We wouldn't have gone into the Umbra. We didn't know that it was a thing. We didn't know that the tier was possible. We went into the Umbra on blind faith. And I'm asking you to give him some blind faith.
You think it's a good idea?
I do. I do, for many reasons. I think it, as bad as it sounds, it's an enemies close situation at the very least, and a redemption story at the very most.
Yeah, and if you think it's a good idea, then yeah. Just we'll have to keep an eye on him and try and redirect him, I guess.
My people have a history of being detached, choosing to give up our voices in the nation. I chose to ignore that and had a voice very loud in the last sept. Part of me still thinks that might be why it failed. But because of that, I'm going to leave this to all of you to decide. My wisdom, my guidance, my experiences are at your disposal. But this is a choice y'all have to make. And I will follow whatever decision you do make. I will not abandon you. But I do not feel fit to say whether it's a good or bad idea, because this is uncharted territory for us. I didn't even think I'd be here today for the longest time. Artie kind of shifts nervously. He looks to Aspen. You know my heart. You know what I want for this city, for this cairn. Where you go, I follow. The least we can do is extend an invitation, Eliza pipes up. Maybe he takes it, maybe he doesn't. I'm sure there are scars and wounds there for him. Returning to the place he last knew as his Garu home might be too difficult. But it's the thought that counts. You are more likely to cause an insult by not involving him, not giving him the opportunity, than you would if he were to refuse it. It shows respect.
You guys have trusted my judgment thus far. And I hope I haven't led you astray. I'm just asking that maybe you guys trust me on this.
I trust you, Artie says.
Yeah. Whatever you say, boss.
You will have to convince Jester, though. And while I think she's coming around, the fate of her friends is still in her mind his fault. And I don't know if any amount of offering protection or being a courier is going to make that better in her mind.
Right. Joseph, you've been quiet.
It's not you I don't trust. And really, my job is to see where the spirits lie.
Eliza kind of leans over to Joseph. Normally, you're right. But this is anything but normal. Speak your heart, son.
He's dangerous. Grandmother Willow is not as strong as she was. I worry that inviting him into her protection will put her at more risk. She's already scared of us doing this, bringing more back onto her. We're building a house and inviting a wrecking ball.
Understandable. I think we've all done things that we're not proud of. And I think we've all done it because of pain or anger or loss. I think everybody deserves to be redeemed, especially here. This place is full of loss, is full of sadness, is full of anger. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to bring it back, to redeem it. And then I think we would be remiss if we didn't do that in all aspects.
So the first time you go out on a lake, they teach you a little saying. Reach, throw, row, go. If you can grab someone from the shore, you grab them. If you can throw a rope or a flotation device out, you can. You throw. If you have to row a boat out, you row a boat out. The very last thing you do is to put yourself in the water with them, because then it's two people drowning. We're not a strong enough swimmer yet to jump in the water with someone violently thrashing. I don't know if we can start healing others that violent until we're established. My concern is we're at the point of establishing safety.
I get what you're saying, but the cairn is the boat, and we're all in the water right now.
Yeah, but we don't have a boat. So maybe after the boat?
But if we okay, let's go with your metaphor, Artie says. We see a boat in the distance, one that is becoming available to us, is getting closer. We're all in the water. The 5 of us, or 6 of us, and he kind of looks at Eliza, are closest to the boat. The boat is just a few more swim strokes away. Would it not be the good thing to do to call out to the other swimmer in the water and say, hey, there's a boat over here, you can swim to safety? Now, it's not us pulling him or calling him into the boat. It's us saying, hey, there's a boat here, you can swim this way if you want to get out of this water. He has to do the swimming still.
It's
Now-
different than
Yeah, but what if you were the person off in the distance and you saw other people go to a boat that didn't invite you?
inviting him to our pack.
That was a long term. I don't mean that that's going to happen right away. I mean, set the framework is more what I meant. I guess I used the wrong words. I wasn't saying let's just all bring him in right now, but offer a handout to him.
Letting him know the Karen's coming is fine. I worry about him being at the right.
I think that's fair. And maybe you could talk to Grandmother Willow and ask her opinion. She's been around way longer than any of us. She might have better insight.
Also, we still got time, Eliza says. We're still at least a month, perhaps more, away from being ready for any kind of right to officially establish it. What Joseph did tonight got us a lot closer. Would have probably been 6 months to a year, easy. But the fact that he mended the bridge between him and the grandmother means that we are closer. But we still got time. And in that time, perhaps he will convince all of you that he should be there, or perhaps he will show a different side, a side that makes you right to be wary. But I admire your optimism, Aspen. That is a trait of a good leader, one that I have not seen in quite some time. But don't let your optimism be ignorance. He killed many people. He's done many terrible things. So the capacity for doing terrible things is there. But I hope you're right, and I hope it works out for the best.
At
We
least
need
show that
all-
he can listen.
We need all the help we can get for what's ahead, and having a strong warrior like him will be very useful as Aiden grows in strength and capability.
Hey, Eliza. Quick question about Fomori, if I can bother you just for a moment.
Of course.
The cairn that we're building on the cemetery, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fomori can take over the dead, right?
True.
So us building a cairn on top of a bunch of dead with a possibility of Fomori, that's such a wise idea.
Fomori, though they act like it, seem like it, behave like it, are not zombies, Aiden. They are not just the dead arisen. They are something corrupted. Something that was once pure and living, slowly infested and taken over. The dead within the cemetery, many of them have been very long dead. Others have had rites, rituals, religious ceremonies done to them that should theoretically protect them. Plus, part of the cairn is the watcher of the cairn, Grandmother Willow. And even if she, as Joseph says, may be weaker than she was before, her roots go deep. They connect to every one of those bodies that lay in rest there. She will ensure that they do not rise, and with the creation of the cairn, she will be even more empowered to do so. But it is a very good question.
It's just a concern that I had.
Understandably. But most Fomori inhabited creatures do so either shortly before, during, or shortly after death. Not many, many years later.
Well, that's I'm a little more comfortable about it then.
It will be a safe place, I assure you. It was a cairn before. It was not infested by Fomori then. It will not be infested by Fomori now.
Thank you.
Very good. And Aiden, continue your kin seeking. Seek out this potential. And follow your leader. She hasn't done you wrong so far. I don't see her starting anytime soon.
I'm sure.
So, because our Jester was able to reconnect, I'm going to take us to a quick 30-second break to get her connected to the call, and we will be swapping over and continuing her scene. We'll be right back in just a moment. And we're back. So, let's reset the scene. You have been staying with Artie for a while, waiting for correspondence from Ryder and from Stheno with inside the jail. As you headed out to your car, ready to go out to meet with Leon, your boyfriend, for a bit of a recharge after everything you went through in Oregon, you found a letter attached to Regina's windshield, which was flung off by the windshield wipers and sent kind of tumbling to the ground. As you pick it up and you see it's in an envelope that is sealed shut, you simply say, you simply see the writing on the outside, Jester.
I'll flip it over and quickly rip it and fumble and get the pages out and immediately start reading.
Okay. So as you pull out the letter and unfold it, you see what looks to be Mia's handwriting. Jester, I hope you're okay. We've been worried sick about you. And some rather rugged looking individuals have been hanging around lately. And not too soon either. We've had lawyers, we've had cops, we've had people coming in and out of the cells on a regular basis, and those seem to have slowed down. So thank you for the brief break from it. We're doing okay, as far as I can tell. They've been keeping us in holding most of the time, taking us in for questioning on a fairly regular basis. But there's really nothing else we can tell them. We told them the truth, Jess, because that's all we could do. Didn't tell them everything, or at least I didn't. But we told them everything they needed to know about this. Chloe has been a tough customer. She's really just shut down, and at every mention of your name, she walks away. I'm sure it's just hard, and she's having a hard time with it, and she'll come around, but I asked her if she wanted me to pass along a message, and she said no. So there might be some work to do there. I don't know what you're doing on the outside. They're looking for you. They keep asking us if we've been in touch. And until now, I've been able to say no. And I'm going to keep saying no. Even after this. But I think you'll understand if our letters are a little fewer and further between, but we'll reach out when we can. Please stay safe. We got a message from some law firm, some small law firm in the city, saying that they are willing to represent us pro bono, and that we'll be in contact with one of their representatives soon. We're still a team, even if some days it doesn't feel like it. I know you did what you thought was best. You might have to convince Chloe, though. We'll be in touch and I'll wait for your response. Mia.
As I finish the letter, tears are streaming down my eyes, and I will crumple it in my fist. I look to Regina. I don't know if she's going to accept me back this time.
You hear kind of the latch that holds the door closed open, and the door kind of just slowly creak open to the driver's side.
I'll get inside.
As you kind of settle in and buckle your seatbelt, the engine sparks to life and a song comes on the radio. Don't Stop Believin' by Journey starts to play.
I'll laugh through the tears as I begin to pull out. Definitely need to talk and see Leon now.
And so off you go into the night to spend another bit of time free from the burdens of being part of Stheno, free from the burdens of being the one on the outside while the five you care about are in the inside, free from the burdens of being a guru, where you can just be Jessica with Leon, away from it all, where you can let go of all of your worries and all of your doubts, where you can effectively lick your wounds. And with that, we will transition back for our final goodbye from the party for this week. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed at the bottom of the screen. If you like the World of Darkness, come join us. We have a Discord invite link in the description of the video as well as in the Twitch site. So come join St. Pete by Night on Discord, and you could be part of a future pack or coterie or hunter cell, or if everything sounds right within the next couple of years, maybe a cabal of mages, depending on when that gets released. So come and join us. We would love to have you. Go support all of our amazing sponsors who make this show possible at all. This week, on Thursday, we have Don't Get Caught. On Saturday, we have a very special After Dark where we're going to talk to this amazing pack right here, or at least a portion of it, about their experience with Werewolf, with St. Pete by Night, with just everything that this has been. And yeah, we hope to see you then. And then, of course, next Sunday, we have episode 3 of Bloody Strings featuring our own Jester, aka Nori, in a very, very different role. But come on back, stay tuned to everything we have, catch up on all the old episodes, and we will see you all next week here on Rage Across Tampa. Have a wonderful night, everyone.